Hi, today we're going to talk about how to line up FPP pieces when you've got to get a perpendicular line across seams and line that up perfectly. You can see on this piece I'm trying to line up where that yellow line is next to the light gray, next to the blue. So I'm going to show you what I do to line these up perfectly so that we don't have anything that's off. Okay, so what I do first, we'll take a look. What I do first is I try to find that seam. Let's go ahead and find our yellow and white seam, and I'll try to pin through right on the seam. So I am right there. You can see I'm right on the line, the 1/4 inch seam line. And over here, I'm going to try to find that 1/4 inch seam line. So I'm looking for the right seam line right on that seam. I don't know if you can see it right there. I'm trying to come through right at the seam. Okay, I'm going to leave that pin in. I'm just going to leave it straight across. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the blue section, the blue and white. So same thing, I'm going to come through here. I'm going to go ahead, come right through, check it on the other side. I'm a little on the blue, so I'm going to try to come through again. Say hi to Murphy. Murphy, no. So I'm going to come through. Yep, right now I'm in between. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to try to find the same location right in between those. It came out a little too low. So a little bit of trial and error until you come out right on that seam. Okay, right there. So I'm going to do that across all of the different areas that are different colors. We're going to line up exactly. If they fall out, go ahead and put them through again, but we're not going to turn these pins through. What we're going to do is, once we have it all lined up, you can see if I'm trying to pin this through, it's going to move my seam, right? So instead, I want to leave this and keep it straight up and down, and then pin in between them. So let me work on doing that, and then I'll show you where we're at. Okay, I've got all of mine pinned. As you can see, I'm right on that seam line, and I'm coming through right on the opposite seam line. And then I've made sure at each one of the color crossings, if you look in there, I'm right on the color crossing. Now I do not move these pins. I'm trying to keep them there the whole time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take other pins, and now I'm going to make sure that this is as straight as I can get it, as perpendicular to the page as I can get it. And then I'm going to go ahead, and that's where I'm going to pin in between each one of those lines. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back and we'll start sewing. Okay, so you can see how I have everything pinned. I'm leaving those perpendicular pins. One thing I want to mention too is right in the corner, that's where I like to line them up as well. So you've got anywhere where your colors intersect, and then on both corners. Even on pieces where I don't have intersecting colors, I like to line up on the lines and then on the corners just like this. Now we're going to sew. Now when we've got an area where we're trying to do a lot of lines or some complex areas we're lining up, I do like to maybe do a long stitch or a basting stitch first. So I'll turn my stitch length up to 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and start sewing, just because it's going to be easier to take out a 4 stitch length than trying to unpick like a 1.5 or 1.6. So I leave my pins in all the way until I'm starting. I want to maintain them as perpendicular as possible to start right until that pin is underneath the needle. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to sew right on the line. Okay, and as you can see, I'm leaving these perpendicular pins. As they get close to the needle, that's where I'll bring them and make sure that they are perpendicular. And then I sew just slowly until they're about underneath the presser foot, and then I'll pull them out. So we'll continue like this. And I am just right on that line. Going slow. Okay, taking out some of the other pins as we go. The name of the game is slow. And that's how you're going to get your perfect seams lined up. And just little by little, but make sure as the perpendicular pins where you're trying to line up your seams, Those we're going to try to turn perpendicular as much as possible as we're going underneath the presser foot, and then I remove them at the last minute. Okay, let's see how we did, and if there's any areas that we need to unpick and re-sew. So, not bad. You can see we've lined up all the way. We've lined up on the blue and the white, the white and the yellow, even clear up top. You can see, we've got a little bit off. I may try to just unpick that one and then get that one a little bit more lined up right there, and then we'll sew it all the way down. The next part, what I would do after I unpick and solve that, then I'm going to change my stitch length to a 1.6, and then I'll sew right on top of this line all the way down, and then we should be good. Okay, I just unpicked and re-sewed it, and take a look at that. Perfect. So now, the next part that I'll do is I like to remove the paper from the seams, and then we'll iron it open and keep going.